What is going on, everybody? This is another review for episode 4 of The Last of Us from us here at Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I am not as enraged as I was last review. I'm just bored. Won't have as much to say.
Wesley, introduce yourself, please.
I'm Wesley Roth. I am an employee here. Pleasure to be here.
Are you are you as bored as Mary?
Yeah,
You are?
I am. Yeah,
Okay.
I thought that was. Oof.
Could have used more action. The name of the episode is Please Hold to My Hand. My one complaint is that it's probably low on action for some people. If they could have had one set piece that was similar to the car scene in the first episode, I think it would have round out the episode really, really well.
Not just action, but gore. Where's the gore? Where are the cordyceps?
See, I'm not
I'm not partial. I don't need the gore.
Yeah.
More cordyceps would have been nice.
Apocalyptic zombie show.
I
You
mean,
should have something.
Zombies, yes, but gore, I can live. The body horror, I can live without.
So, number one thing for me, drone and helicopter shots are adding to the scope of this greatly. That it's selling it. I don't know if they're doing it with the drone or if they're doing it with the helicopter shots. It seems too steady to be a drone.
Some big drones.
So I don't know if they were doing that. And the wide shots of St. Louis,
I think it's Kansas City.
was really, really great set design there with all of the debris, and they kept those shots wide, which lent to the scope of the show, and kind of made you feel the environment. The empty, just a shot as simple as them driving on a freeway the opposite way, is a really good way of showing that. You might have thought it boring, but I thought they went a long way in softening Ellie's character and making her more likable, which they had to do.
I disagree. I see them attempting it, but I'm not touched in any way. Maybe I'm just
Yeah,
maybe
it feels
I'm
like
just
they're like,
not
now tell your
sentimental
joke.
enough,
And it's like,
but
what?
I'm not buying it at all.
This should have been. She should not have told jokes in this episode. They should not have bonded in this episode. This should have been breaking down the walls and been scared together. And then the next episode, they can relate
maybe
to
that
each
should
other.
have been episode 3, but instead we had gay telenovela.
We got that is a big part.
We've wasted so much time.
A big part of this is that if there could have been more of them together in episode 3, maybe perhaps it would have felt more earned. But I think that the scene of her shooting the guy in the back and then having to hear that guy getting killed is enough of a trauma in which they shared to finish the bonding. So before that, what we got is them not at a campsite, but in the woods. And she tries the joke thing, and he doesn't laugh, but it does break down his walls just a little bit. And then it finishes after they've had this second experience together in which she has to shoot the guy and then he has to kill the guy, and you have to hear the guy getting killed off screen. It does lead to the funny scene in which you see her take a loaded gun and basically wave it right in his face, which is my favorite part of the entire episode. Also, maybe I'm just partial because this episode has Melanie Linsky, who is from Coyote Ugly.
Yeah, I knew I recognized her from somewhere.
She is the least believable apocalyptic
leader. Yeah,
she's bossing all of these men around
with the squeakiest voice I've ever heard.
She
in
feels
my entire
very
life.
not sure of herself.
Yeah.
How she talks.
Yeah.
And so I was watching, and I was like, she's somebody's daughter.
There
right?
was
Brett, you're right about this show being too heavy on female leaders bossing around a bunch of dudes. It's just not realistic.
Harry
Anna
is
Torv would
twice
be a believable female leader. Melanie Linsky, not so much.
No, Melanie Linsky would make a good nurse.
She'd make a good first, early Carol.
Yeah.
She looks like she would make you muffins.
She and the funny thing is the same way that we insult people who like Disney too much, or the same people who were talking about how emotional episode 3 was are the same people, I kid you not, I saw a tweet that said, and Melanie Linsky, oh my God, I was so scared. I was so scared of Kathleen. I'm like, no, you weren't.
These are the Kevin Smiths of the world.
Yes. Look, I liked it. I think that they did some good growth with her. You may not agree with me, but I saw it. And I think that might be a personal preference thing. Maybe it's because I was so soured to her in the first 2 episodes that any growth whatsoever was good. But also, I thought there was some good acting on the part of the dude who got shot when he was begging for his life. I thought that guy did a really, really good job.
I thought that he was still doing their shtick. I thought they were basically a human trafficking ring where they try to get you to feel sorry for them so that they can lure you in.
I mean, that's the thing, right?
That's what they did at first. I thought he was still going.
Well, no, by that because by that point he got shot, and now he's at their mercy. I think he was just trying to manipulate her to get out of it. The spike strips were a nice touch too.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Joel's line about "you try for family," and I enjoyed her line about how her saying "you have to try." Look, there's a naivete about her view of the world that I think informs somebody who doesn't know it all and doesn't think they know it all. There is a certain amount, a certain lack of understanding of the way things work in the world that I found endearing about her character.
There's nothing endearing about her to me.
I also like the 20-year-old Chef Boyardee ravioli. It looked like 20-year-old.
That would be bussin'.
It looked like 20-year-old Chef Boyardee ravioli.
I just, like, the things you're saying are not unfounded. I just found it very, like, snap of the fingers, now we're here. Yeah. And that's what I don't want. So it's hard to, like,
perhaps if
engage.
So formulaic.
Yeah. Perhaps if episode 3 had been pushed to later in the series and this was all released at once, and there had been something more in episode 3 of them together, meaning that, like, when they did the previously on The Last of Us, they used literally every scene of them from the previous episode because that's all there was of them in the previous episode. But if episode 3 had been entirely of them, then I don't think it would have been I don't think you would have found it as bad. But it didn't bother me. And
it feels very unearned. It feels like this should have been an episode, or not even 3. 3, like, if I was making this, 3 would have been an episode about, like, finding common ground. This one would have been about going through something traumatic together. The next one would be about bonding. The next one would be like, hey, we have
literally the gay episode ruined it because it could have done in episode 3.
But no, but no, it's just like you could have still done that. You could have, like, they still did that in the 3rd episode with them. It was like, hey, we're on the same page. We're trying to get here. Like, we're just, like, cordial at this point. Going through something very traumatic together is the quickest way to bond. And if they hadn't tried to jump the gun, which is what I think they did, to get there, to get to this, like, oh, see, we're already developing that. No, that has to be earned. You have to get there without realizing you're getting there, right?
You don't think that her having to shoot the guy and then him having to murder that guy is
I
enough?
think that's a traumatic experience, but
along with going through the museum and the cordyceps.
I would have thought that Joel would just emotionally blame Ellie for Tess's death after that.
Right. There needs to be time, because it's not just about Ellie, it's also about Joel. Like, there are 2 people here who have to be broken down, and that still takes time. Like, and you have to let the people watching it, also have that time to process it. I know that this is a weekly show and not a binge show, but you still need that to, like, oh, they went through something tough. Let me have a week with it, and then when I come back a week later, it'll feel longer to me. And then you start building that rapport.
If
but
shows
they jumped
were
right
like
into it.
24 episodes still, rather than 8 to 10,
I still think you could do it.
Then it would be a lot easier for them to accomplish.
And also, I want to speak from a position of authority here, as somebody who knows something about rushing shots.
Okay.
A lot of this felt rushed. It felt like they were like, we have 10 minutes in this building, and, like, I just was watching and it was like,
Which
I can
shot?
see all of it, like the shots when they're first laying down to sleep. I was like, this feels so rushed. It feels like they had 5 minutes in this room to shoot this. And then the scene,
meaning the room could have been dressed better.
No, just like how frenetic the shooting was. The actual camera movement felt like there's, like, skips in continuity. Maybe they were doing that on purpose. And the same with the scene with whatever his name was, Brian. Felt like we have one day with this actor, so let's crank it out. And it felt very uninspired and undramatic, and it didn't have any tension. It was just like, here's what's happening, let's go. It was like they ran the scene through 4 times, and that's it. It didn't engage me. There was no I didn't want them to drag it out. It just didn't have
meaning
energy.
Like they didn't have enough coverage.
No, it's not about coverage. It's about, there was no in simple terms, yes, but it didn't feel. It felt like a very quick back and forth. It just felt uninspired. It felt like we have to crank this out. It didn't feel like it was. It didn't feel powerful.
If that's true, then it's a testament to his performance, because I enjoyed his performance in that scene.
Brian's performance?
Yeah,
that's fine. I'm strictly talking from a filmmaking standpoint. It didn't compel me. I didn't feel tension. I just, maybe it's because I knew it was going to happen. Maybe because I already know. But I was just like, this feels lilting and uninspired.
Thoughts on that swelling from the ground that's likely a bloater.
The big, yeah, that's from the trailer probably.
Yeah. Like why have we waited
that
this
was
long?
cool looking.
We could
I
have
will
had
say that was very cool
in
looking.
episode
Well
3
done.
because according to the game they encounter a bloater with Bill, but they didn't do that.
Yeah, the porno mag was hilarious. That was their one callback. They're like, we
which seems out of place as well because we already know that Bill is gay. Why is this even
also
still in the show?
The Page is stuck together joke was a little on the nose. That one probably could have been left out of it. I've been watching Mortal Kombat Conquest, and 90% of the show is dialogue. As bad as the show is, it's 90% of it's because there's dialogue that doesn't need to be there, where there could just be a nod or something like that, and they say all the characters' names too much.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, it's because they're famous characters. Therefore, you have to say the name 50 times because everyone's heard of the character.
Right, Brett.
Look, I liked it. Maybe it's because I was looking for any reason to not hate this character because I don't want the next 6 episodes to drag and to feel like there's no reason to care. I cared by the end of it. Now, is it possible that she doesn't nail the performance in the future and you find out that she's not as worth saving as you think? I hope they don't go back that direction, but I also don't think that if they get through another episode and there's more they have to experience together, that this episode might bother you less down the line.
Maybe.
And the next episode will be early. It will be on Friday rather than on Sunday because of the Super Bowl.
Oh,
cool.
This week.
I hope you're right. I hope that she's just bad at that version of Ellie, that shelled version, and that there's a blossoming one. You're like, oh wow, she was good at this. Also, want to say that when I said speak from a position of authority, that I'm good at being a bad filmmaker, not that I'm a better filmmaker. It's a joke.
So. Hopes for the next episode.
I hope that
what could they do to improve upon it for you?
I would say don't let this be the definitive change in their relationship. Let it be the start to it, that it's still rocky.
Well, that's what I mean. I just because he laughs at the end of this episode doesn't mean that I think he's going to wake up and be like, "Oh, we're best friends now." That's that would be the test of their writing abilities, not necessarily that he cracked a little bit at the end of this episode.
If it's a crack a little bit, then I will not fully take it back. I'll be like, okay, I see it. But if this is just we went through one bad thing and now we want to get to that. What I'm afraid of is we want to get to that part, and no, let it simmer a little bit.
Why does the loss of Tess and everything not count as a bad thing as well?
I never said it doesn't, but she's right that the loss of Tess would further divide them.
Yeah. He would just blame Ellie as the cargo that caused this dangerous situation to happen in the first place.
With episode 3, if they could have pushed it to an episode, perhaps, but it doesn't bother me. If there's one thing you could fix about it, what would you do for next episode?
I don't know. I'm just bored. If we can get some surface level action, cordyceps, gore, blood.
I just want,
because
I'm
still rewatching The Walking Dead right now, and every episode is intensely emotional and heavy action and heavy gore all in one.
Yeah, and on a smaller TV budget,
a smaller budget. So I don't
less famous actors at the time.
Actually
I
don't know what the budget is on this show.
I can't imagine it's smaller, or it's smaller than an AMC budget.
Yeah,
but no, it's more to do with creativity and not just action. Just it felt lilting. That first episode was like a movie. It felt like a movie. I was blown away by it. I was like, this is great. Everything looks great, but everything since has felt just very we have to get through. Like they were running out of time. I don't know. I could just see it.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.